Hey everyone, so the Cinderella's Castle stream just ended like 10 seconds ago. Really reeling from that. It was so good. I watched the digital ticket back kind of late. Like I remember when it came out, I watched it like a couple months after it came out. It was still a while ago and I kind of forgot like most of it. Kind of going through a lot back then. So yeah, I literally didn't remember like half of the plot and I didn't really remember the songs. So this was kind of like viewing it for the first time in a way. Like I remembered some little things, but not everything. So that was really fun because I feel like that was not the case for the last couple of streams. I remembered a lot more from the digital ticket, so it was a lot less like fresh. But this one I was like, wait, I don't even remember like which characters survive and stuff. So that was really cool. And I definitely liked the music a lot better than when I watched the stream. Not that it was like bad when I watched the digital ticket, but I remember being like kind of underwhelmed. Like I was like, I don't know about this. And then on this, maybe it was just the sound quality. It's kind of a unique mix of genres because unlike Hatchetfield shows where it's in a specific time period, even Firebringer, obviously is supposed to be in a vague but still specific time. This is like a fantasy thing, so it's not really any specific time period. It's like vaguely kind of medieval, but even that is like not a solid thing. So the music has some like very like bard type songs, but then there's also like almost like disco inspired and like they Vogue at one point. Like there's all sorts of different stuff. There's like a rockin' like drive your car down the highway with the windows open kind of song. Like there's all sorts of broad genres, which was really interesting. I don't know, I guess I didn't expect that. Not like a very typical musical theater, I think. But yeah, I really liked, I'd say most of the songs. There's maybe one or two where I was like, like I'm probably gonna forget that in a day. But the opening and closing, amazing. There were so many great numbers. As far as cast goes, I mean, not surprising, but everyone was amazing. I think this is one of the shows where I don't have like a standout because everyone was just so good and the roles were so unique too. I feel like a lot of the Hatchetfield shows recently have had a lot of like multicasting where everyone plays like 3 or 4 roles, even like 5 roles in some shows. This didn't really have that. There was some like really, really quick scenes, like where Angela was like a townsperson in one scene, but pretty much everyone just had one role too, so they really like stood out in those specific roles. And I feel like they were, for the most part, very, very geared towards the specific actors. I don't know if they wrote them with them in mind. I feel like some of them I could definitely see, oh, they wrote this for this person specifically, especially Joey's roles. Joey's just like meant to be a weird little creature like that. Like, he's been Bug. He does all those kind of like goofy roles and stuff, and he was so funny in that. But everyone was, amazing. I mean, Kim, like breathtaking, crazy. Angela, this was so like, in one way it wasn't a departure because she does do these very like larger than life kind of roles. I've seen her on Smosh a lot, so she does very over the top characters all the time. And part of the role was like that, but then also part of the role was very like evil, kind of seductress villain, which is not something we've seen from her before. So that was really fun. Obviously, Bryce, amazing. I'm so like excited now that she's like this lead because she was really good in Nerdy Prudes, but she had a pretty small role in that. So this is really exciting to see her in a much, obviously, huge role. She's the lead. Like this is, sorry, I keep looking at the screen too. I should not be doing that. Yeah, this is her first lead in. A lot of the Hatchetfield shows, I feel like, were more ensemble. Even Guy Who Didn't Like Musicals, Paul was the lead, but he didn't sing until the very, very end. So he didn't have as much of that like traditional kind of leading man thing, whereas this was very clearly Cinderella. Ella is the lead character, like the lead. She was amazing. James was so funny. I mean, he was really, really funny in the stream too. That's one of the things I definitely remembered about the stream is he was just hilarious. I'll definitely talk about this more in my actual review. His character is horrible. He's the worst type of man. Like he's so disgusting. He's a nasty little freak, but he's so like charming and like just smooth that you're like, oh, I kind of like him. Like, oh, he's so gross and disgusting, but like also it's like kind of fun. Like he's just really, really pulled it off. And obviously, anytime he got to dance, I was like cheering and clapping. Oh, so excited to see him dance. He's amazing. He's just like born for this stage. I love watching him perform. He's amazing. I love Mariah and Lauren are the stepsisters. And I was so excited about that because back in, was it 2020 that I did those Sondheim videos? I cast them as the stepsisters in Into the Woods. So that was like a fun little like, oh, like I kind of predicted this in a way. Oh, John was Sir Hop-a-Lot. He was so funny. Guy Who Didn't Like Musicals came out so long ago now. It's still very fun to me to see John in like such different roles because Paul is so like straight-laced, not one note. Like he's a deep character, but he's not like over the top or anything. So it's really fun to see John like doing these different kinds of roles still. Kurt is not super small role, a smaller role, but he's fun. Apparently he did the fight choreography for this. I know I see that on like Instagram. He's very knowledgeable in that kind of stuff. So that was really cool. They did a lot of like sword fighting stuff. That was the next thing I'll get to was, oh my God, the production value of this. I think it's the highest highest budget that they've ever had. I'm pretty sure people have said. I mean, the backer list at the end, at the credits, I watched through the whole thing, was mind-blowing. It was so long. There were so many backers. I think this was the biggest budget they had, and it definitely shows. This was Broadway level production. Like, seriously, especially the costumes. The costumes were so crazy. I'll definitely get into details in my review because wow, like genuinely I'm like flabbergasted. But especially I think both of Ella's act 2 dresses that she has, like the actual dresses, and then the Fae Queen, I don't remember the character's exact name, but Kim's character, those two were definitely, or I guess 3 costumes were definitely like the standouts for me, but there was so, like every costume was just like, wow, this is something you could literally see on Broadway. It was crazy. Sets, obviously amazing. It makes me like kind of, it's like fun nostalgic because I'm thinking about like the old Star Kids shows, and they did some really creative stuff with those early shows, but you could still tell it was a very, very low budget show. Like I'm thinking about Starships in particular. Starship has great sets, but they're very clearly very low budget. This is like, clearly they have those same types of ideas, but now they're able to like do it in a way that rivals any kind of professional production on Broadway in any kind of regional theater. Like it's really, really good. Probably the biggest thing I think people are going to be talking about is the fucking puppets. Oh my God. They obviously had puppets before, not for a while. I think the last time they had puppets was Firebringer, right? These were next level. I mean, that's like such a unique thing too. That's not even something like you see on Broadway all the time or something. That's a very, very specific, unique thing. With the puppets were so good. And that's another thing with this recording too. You could see everything so clear. So they were cool to watch in the digital ticket, but this was a lot more like a lot of close-ups and stuff that you could really see, like the artistry, the craftsmanship. They were clearly super high quality. The troll puppets were like blinking and stuff. Like it's like Disney level. That's what I'd say is the puppets are seriously I could see in like a Disney kind of production where it has that kind of like whimsical, like fantastical thing that has just this like really high production value. So that was really cool. Another thing about this show for me that was really fun is I've actually done a lot of fairy tale, like folk tale inspired theater shows in my life, because I used to go to summer camp when I was a kid where we did a show in a week. We would, put on this like short musical, and they were original musicals written by the people that ran the camp, but they were mostly based off of like fairy tales, folk tales and stuff. So I've done a ton of those because I did that camp for like 9 years. And then even after that, I did some community theater productions that were fairy tale based. So I've done a lot of fairy tale shows, including Cinderella. I've done twice. I was in a show called The Falcon's Magic Feather. Doesn't sound like it, but it was Cinderella inspired. And the first time I played it, I played a rapping character. I had to rap. So imagine that, me at 11 years old rapping. That's interesting. And then I was in it again a couple years later, and I played the Cinderella character who was named Euphoria. But the real connection is that the sisters in that were named Rubella and Malaria, which I don't know how much I understood that joke when I was a little kid. I think probably the second time I was in, I probably understood because I was like 13 then. That very much reminded me of the sisters in this. They have those kinds of names. And so that was just really fun. Like I remember that a lot. And I actually remember some of the opening of that show, because that show opens with like the chorus, all the little kids, in the show reciting this like narration that opens like a storytelling thing. And I remembered it during this. And I don't think I remember the whole thing, but I remember, welcome friends and welcome neighbors, rest a while from your daily labors. Listen as we spin a tale that follows a long and rocky trail. It's full of surprises and possible dangers, love and deception and the strangest of strangers. And that's all I remember. But yeah, that was probably, I don't know, I had to be like 12 or 13. So 14 years ago, 13, 14 years ago. Yeah, well, it was a long time ago. But that was really fun just to think about. And obviously, that's another thing with this show. Not a kid show at all. Not that any Star Kids shows are kid shows. This might have been the dirtiest Star Kids show. And I'm even saying that compared to Me and My Dick. Me and My Dick is obviously dirty, but it's very cartoonish. They don't really get super graphic with it, honestly. This has some very, very dirty jokes, especially from the prince. There is a blowjob joke that he makes that is, I kind of remembered it from the first time, and the second time I was like, oh my God, like it's a lot. It was funny. Obviously they're allowed to do that. It was just like kind of shocking because this is, it's a silly like fairy tale kind of thing, but they got like very adult with it, and that was interesting. They also definitely had the most gore, which the Patchfield shows, to be fair, have been pretty gory. So that's not, something that they've never done before. But they had an actual scene that is like, you watch the whole thing on screen and it is bloody. They just had some props in different parts that were very disgusting, especially seeing it up close with the actual pro shot is like, oh, okay, they really went there. So that was fun, kind of unexpected. I think I could see a lot of people in the chat that were like, oh, wow, like this is actually going there. I think that was definitely my reaction the first time I watched it. I was kind of surprised by that, but I think it worked pretty well. They kind of went all in on all of it. Like, I think if they just had a little bit of sprinkle of gore here and there, it would be kind of like weird and out of place. But I think they kind of went full throttle from the very beginning. There's dirty jokes and poop and blood and all sorts of crazy bodily fluids, throughout the whole thing. So it was kind of, just the deal of it. The last thing probably that I want to mention is the actual filming quality. Yeah, was really good. I think this is probably the first time in a while that I didn't notice any sound issues. The last couple have been very, very good, very high quality, but there's been some sound issues, at least at one point in all of them. I don't think I noticed any, and maybe when I'll watch it again, I'll notice, but I did not notice the first time around, so that's really good. And I think that they filmed everything very well. Like, they picked really good parts to show close-ups and stuff, because that's something that I think a lot of people, have complained about, including me in the past, of cutting out choreography and stuff. I don't think they really did that. I mean, maybe I'll notice again, if I go back and watch it, I'll see something that they cut out that I didn't want them to, but I did not notice anything that super stood out to me this time, which is good. I think that they've really improved with every single one, that they've gotten a lot better at, knowing when to record, really good editing too, and it's a real, like, cinematic experience. It's not just like camera plop there, recorded, and it's really good. Maybe I might try to have this up tonight. I don't know if that's gonna happen. Definitely this will be up this weekend, and I'll have for sure a review and a harmonies video pretty soon. I'm not sure exactly what day, but there's definitely going to be content coming up this month, next month, for sure. And I have some other videos that I've been waiting for the show to come out to get footage for it, that are not like Cinderella's Castle specifically, but I needed footage from this. So I'm very excited. There's definitely going to be some videos coming out soon. So make sure to like and subscribe and hit the bell and all that stuff, because more things are coming. And I hope you enjoyed the show. And if you watched it, let me know what your thoughts were. And this is obviously no spoilers, so maybe try to keep the spoilers away in the comments, but definitely share what you think. And I'm very excited to do a review and see what everybody thinks there, because that's where the real tea comes out. It's been a while since I've made a video, because I've had a lot going on recently, but it's a little bit more calm now. But very excited to be making probably a lot of videos for the rest of the year. So see you guys soon, I guess. Bye.